An opinion poll was recently conducted by FindOutNow, and in my opinion it only demonstrates the discontent with the mainstream parties, but also shows just how broken our electoral system is. Even under a plurality-based voting system like first past the post, it would be very reasonable to assume, under normal circumstances, that the second most voted for party, in this case the Green Party, would be capable of forming the official opposition. However, these results are unique in that the lead between Reform and the Green Party is much larger, with Reform being at 32% whilst the Greens are only at 17%. Meanwhile, the Tories, Labour and the LibDems are all the biggest losers in this poll, with the two mainstream parties neck and neck at 16%, whilst the LibDems are trailing behind them at 12%. According to seat projections from electionmaps.uk, however, the Lib Dems would end up forming the official opposition despite polling fourth in terms of national vote shares. Such distortions only serve to embolden the case for proportional representation, as first past the post reveals just how unreliable it can be when faced with the most diverse electorate in British history. The biggest takeaway from this poll is that Britain is becoming extremely divided, and that even those that consider themselves to be more moderate are shifting towards populism out of fear of losing ground to the other side. Even Neil Kinnock, a long-time veteran of Labour's soft left and famous for the expulsion of the militant tendency, has now called for a wealth tax to combat inequality, and Lucy Powell, the newly elected deputy leader of the Labour Party, gave a speech in which she said the government should stop out-reforming reform, and should instead shift back to the left of centre, whilst moderate Tories alienated by Kemi Badenoch's policy agenda begin looking towards the Liberal Democrats as a new party to represent Middle England. But the reality of the matter is this: the three main parties are all losing out, and voters are tired of what they see as a single transferable party, in which parties only disagree on paper whilst peddling the same failed ideology that is neoliberalism. As the political mainstream has begun to converge towards this state of centrism and begun to offer no real alternative to the status quo, it shows us that the real division and vote splitting is occurring not on the left, but in the centre. And yet, people are still looking towards reform as a solution to Britain's woes, even though they continue to peddle the failed Thatcherite policy of privatisation and promising £30 billion in cuts to disability benefits, pushing the most vulnerable into even deeper poverty. The Reform Party thrives on division and hatred, and will continue to lay the blame on immigrants even as they actively seek to do more damage themselves. But there is an alternative. The Green Party, under Zach Polanski, offers something new, and now seems to be the only real opposition to reform. Instead of hatred and division, they promote acceptance and diversity, representing how true British patriotism means supporting multiculturalism and how immigrants from all corners of the world have contributed positively to our culture, economy and public services. As the retired population grows ever larger and negative birth rates begin to tank, Reform's anti-migrant policies will only push us into deeper despair, whilst the Green Party promises to remove the constraints that make having children such an excessive cost to bear for prospective families, like removing the two-child benefit cap. The answer is obvious. If you want hatred, stagnation and privatisation, vote Reform. If you want diversity, progress and public ownership, vote Green.